Hi, I'm Kazan. This time we're gonna talk about how to draw blood and other liquids. If you wanna illustrate a fight scene, or someone who gets shot, or someone who explodes, it's gonna come in handy to know how to make good use of effects with blood. So remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you like the content I'm doing. You can also help me to choose the next topics we should do by commenting below. Let's go! Today I'll mostly be talking about how blood runs and flows. But before we can dig into that, we need to remember that blood is a liquid, and liquid flows according to its thickness. Blood almost has the same density as water, which means it kind of flows in the same way. I've tried to illustrate this by this drawing. Let's take a look at this piece of wood that has blood running down it. Because of its low density, it pours in thin lines, small drops, and big splashes. I would draw it something like this. Always remember where your gravity is, draw the lines down towards it, and make a lot of drops. With blood you can do a lot of details. I would do so many drops here and there just to make it really run. But what I want to do now is I'm gonna compare that to another liquid. Yes, look at this thick slime. This liquid obviously has a lot more density than that thin blood we have running over there on the left. So let's take a look at how that runs. Because of the thickness, it has a hard time letting go of its drops. So the drops are gonna be bigger, they're gonna be fewer, and the way it falls and pours, it's gonna be in much thicker lines and smaller splashes. And I have another example here to show you exactly what I mean by smaller splashes. Let's play a bit. Consider these two rocks. One is about to fall into a pool of blood, and the other is about to fall into a pool of thick slime. So according to what we just talked about, let's see what's gonna happen. The blood is gonna splash all over the place. It's gonna splash in a million drops because of its low density. It's just gonna let go of all the drops and let them separate from the rest of the blood, and they're gonna fly all over the place. And I usually just draw a lot of dots in different sizes, and I feel like that gives the best effect. Let's consider our slime. What's gonna happen? It's gonna have a hard time letting go because it's thick and it's gooey, and the drops are gonna be a bit bigger and a lot fewer. Let's put in some longer arms here on the splash just to show that it has a hard time letting go. So there we have it, blood and slime. Two big splashes. Now that we understand a bit more about thickness, we can start applying that in different ways. Let's consider this arm that has a wound that bleeds. I think I'll let the blood run from up here somewhere. And let's see how the blood runs in thin strokes down the arm in the direction of gravity. It's gonna collect down here on the hand, right on this spot. Just start filling in a lot of lines that cross each other in different directions, almost like veins. And I just fill it up, and down on the underside of the arm I kinda make the lines a bit more thick, because this is where the blood collects before it starts dripping. And now let's do the drops. Just like we learned earlier, it's gonna be in thin lines and a lot of dripping. I'm doing it fast now, but it would be something like this. It runs a lot. Okay? I have another example. Let's take this guy's face. He's been beaten up and he's gonna be bleeding a lot. Let's begin up here on his forehead. Blood is pouring down over his face, and I try to follow the shapes I already have. Let's do a bloody nose here. And it just runs and it runs and it runs in streams. And again, just thin lines. Follow gravity and just follow the shapes of the face. And start collecting it down here where you think it's gonna be dripping from. In this case, it's gonna be the chin. Then we start dripping a bit. We continue with our thin lines. And of course, our smaller drops. Just let it run over here from the ear as well a bit. Just like that. And that's how the blood would pour down over the face, just by itself. But let's take another example. On this one, we have a guy who gets a fist right in his face, and I want the blood to spray out of his eye socket. So, that's exactly what we're gonna do. There's gonna be a lot of speed and velocity in this one. So we want long, thin lines out from where the fist hits the face. It's more or less like a blood explosion. The speed is so high that the blood just sprays like this. And the drops are really pushed out far. And let's add some blood on the fist itself. And a bit from the mouth. And when I talk about speed and velocity, it's all about the direction of the fist, where it comes from, and where the blood explodes into because of this. Imagine the fist goes in and causes the blood to spray into these directions. Let's just grab the green and let's do it all again, but with our thick slime. We're starting out with the arm, just like before, and the slime slowly runs down the forearm like this. Remember our thickness here. This slime runs slowly and starts dripping already further up than the blood did. Just like this. We're not gonna make that many long, thin strokes. This slime is really just thick. Moves like a snail. And observe down here, not that many drops, more like thick hanging droplets that are about to let go of the slime. Just a few bigger drops. And that's it. Let's compare to the blood up here. Look at the thin lines. And look at the thick lines. Moving on to the face. Let's do the same thing. I imagine this guy has a cold and he has a bit of a runny nose. So it's gonna run something like this. Thick lines out of the nose, down the chin. Just like we had on the arm. And it's gonna be hard to let go of the rest of the slime, but it does have one drop like this. Plop. Then we can start covering the face over here on the side, a bit more in the slime. Just quickly. And remember, this is thick slime. It's not gonna separate that much into long, thin strokes. We're just gonna let it cover over here, just like this. And let's compare it to our blood up here. Okay? Can just cover a bit more here. And let's take our poor guy here with the fist in the face. Let's just pretend he's an alien that bleeds thick slime when he gets hit. We start by considering the direction of the fist and the direction that we want the slime to spray out from. But it's not really going to spray that much, not like the blood. It's more like just like a big goo that separates into smaller parts and these huge drops. I'm just quickly gonna fill out the green so we can see what direction it explodes into. So, there we go. Slimy stuff. Just a few more drops. And now we can compare it to how we did the blood up here. You see? So, that's it. I could have gone a lot more into how light interacts with different liquids and what color they have and so on. But this is more like an introduction into what you should consider when playing around with your liquids and making them flow and stretch. So I hope you liked this. Please comment below if you have an idea for another video I should do. And I'll see you next time.